We're Matt and Cheryl, and we recently visited Canada where this delightful couple, Kyle and Teresa, also known as the Mountain Town Ramblers, shared with us some of their favorite mountain towns in Canada. So today it's our turn. We're sharing 6 of our favorite mountain towns in the American Rockies. So our first one is Glenwood Springs, Colorado.
Oh my goodness. Glenwood Springs is one of our very favorite places to take our family. You know, you might have heard of Vail, you might have heard of Aspen, but a lot of times people haven't heard of Glenwood Springs. But in my opinion, it's the best of all those towns because there is so many fun things to do there. It's home to the world's biggest hot springs pool. It's just huge, and there's a little water slide there. There's an amazing vaudeville show, which those are not even around, but just a little kind of variety act that are so fun to watch. There's a beautiful river walk that goes through town, and there's even an adventure park where you get to go on a gondola and ride rides that go over the cliffs. There's a mountain coaster there.
Oh, the giant swing.
Yes, and the giant swing.
They have this theme park on the top of the mountain. It is really one of the most unique things I've ever seen.
Plus, there's river rafting and there's bike rides. I mean, so much to do. And I remember the first time we went there was 10 years ago, and we went there because my mom was able to get a Verbo for pretty cheap there. And so we were able to stay there for fairly cheap and then go and do all those fun activities. So much variety. Now, I think the lodging's gone up a little bit because the Secret's a little bit out, but oh, Glenwood Springs it's fun and beautiful, and it's right by the beautiful Rocky Mountains.
Also near Maroon Bells, one of the most famous valleys in the Colorado Rockies, which is also close to Aspen. Aspen, Colorado almost made our list, but Aspen, we decided Glenwood Springs is just the more fun town by far, actually. Glenwood Springs, adventure town, USA, a place that you should actually just go and stay for a week and do everything there is to do there. So fun. Okay, what's our second one? Missoula, Montana. Okay, Missoula, Montana. Not known as like a tourist destination. The Clark Fork River runs through there, and I believe that's where a river runs through. It was filmed with the fly fishing and all that. So fly fishermen, some river rafters, they like to go there as well. But we spent a summer there. We lived there for a summer because of a job assignment and explored everything there was to do in and around the town, and it was fantastic.
Yes.
There's the National Bison Range, so just a protected bison range that you can go check out, some buffalo and all that. There is some really cool ghost towns nearby. So Garnett Ghost Town's located up in the hills, one of the best preserved ghost towns I've ever seen. That is a really gorgeous one. The Bitterroot Mountain Range. Missoula sits like near the Bitterroot Mountain Range, which goes from Idaho into Montana. And that is such a gorgeous drive.
It's an interesting place because, like I said, we've lived there for a summer, and so the town kind of has some modern things going on in it. They have music in the park, and you get to sit along the river, and they have really good food in Missoula. I thought
very good food.
I was pregnant at the time. My doctor told me I needed to switch over to appetizers instead of meals because I was gaining a little too much weight living in Missoula.
Yes.
But I mean, just beautiful, like great town, and then I felt like we could drive 5 minutes from anywhere in Missoula and be up in the mountains. We call it our magical Montana summer. And the other thing that was kind of fun is, like, if you have children, they have amazing parks for kids and some zippy carousels in Montana. Montana has 7 of these really beautiful carousels, but they are super proud of these carousels, and it's a thing to do. These carousels are unique. Like, each of the horses or animals on it are handcrafted, and there's stories about them online. You can look them up. The other thing fun about these carousels is they're zipping fast. They go quick, and you can pull little rings from the dragon's mouth. It makes it lots of fun. I think the carousels go faster than the speed limits in Canada.
Missoula actually sits at the confluence of 5 different mountain ranges, and these are not mountains like you're getting here in Canada. They're more rounded off, but they're so great because they're accessible. Everywhere you go, you're driving through a valley next to a river. There's bears right on I saw a bear right almost in town. Missoula is one. And gets overshadowed by Bozeman, Montana, which is kind of the jumping off point for Yellowstone, but we like Missoula better.
Next up, I want to talk about our home state of Utah. I feel like we're cheating a little bit calling this a mountain park, but
only a little though.
We don't care because we're right. This is a good spot. People should go.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So St. George, Utah is actually a pretty big city, and the reason why we bring it up as a good option is because there's a lot of lodging options in St. George. And the reason why we love St. George is because of what it's near. Utah has 5 national parks, but I think it could actually have more. They just had to cap it off. People kind of get mad when the national government owns the whole state.
Yeah.
So But there's a few state parks that are just incredible by it, like Snow Canyon. There's petrified sand dunes. There's lava tube.
Snow Canyon, by the way, not named because of snow, named after a pioneer named Snow.
That is a good point.
Rarely do you get snow in Snow Canyon.
In fact,
It's a red rock canyon, so that's what St. George is known for, is the red rock country. It actually, there are mountains though, actually. This is why we're calling it a mountain town. There are literally mountains, and Utah's weird that way. You will have a regular looking mountain range, and as you get further and further into the valley, it just turns into red rock. And then you get the beautiful red rock formations. The most famous thing near St. George is Zion National Park, which probably the area I think is the most beautiful in the world. I love Zion National Park. And it's a 2,000-foot slot canyon, basically, straight walls up and down, and you can hike through it along the river. Just at times it's only like 50 feet wide, that canyon. So,
but St. George is an hour. It's an hour from Zion, so it's a good jumping off point. One other really special thing there is to do in St. George is the Tuacahn Amphitheater. This is a Broadway quality play that's out underneath the stars with the red rock in the background. I mean, it is awesome. And the other thing special about St. George is this is a great spot to go not in the summer. Like, actually, St. George is super hot in the summer. Like, it's like 110. But you can go there, I mean, March.
Fall,
it's beautiful, perfect weather. We go there in the winter sometimes. And so that's a great option if you're wanting to travel not in the summer.
Just an outdoor mecca, ATVing, hiking. I mean, just so much that you can do there. Okay, where's the next one? We've got Cody, Wyoming. Let's go with Cody, Wyoming.
Matt loves Cody.
Okay, Cody, Wyoming is overshadowed by its more famous neighbor, Jackson, Wyoming, which is actually quite a few hours away. But both of them kind of sit there in western Wyoming next to the national parks. Cody's next to Yellowstone. Jackson is next to Grand Teton. Jackson's kind of known as this famous cowboy town.
It's the glitzy cowboy
but
town.
It is glitzy.
Like,
it's
picture
super
a cowboy
expensive.
with the sequins. That is Cody.
The electric horseman, like Robert Redford.
Yeah. That's Jackson. Cody is like the
Cody is much more down to earth, much more affordable. It has just as much to offer as Jackson. So Cody was actually founded by Buffalo Bill Cody, who had his Wild West show that he went around the world touring and putting on these kind of rodeo, almost like a rodeo or a fair type of a thing. The hotel that he built is there, called the Irma. It's haunted. We stayed there. It's a really cool place.
There were no ghost sightings, thank goodness. If I would have known it was haunted, I wouldn't have stayed there.
They have a museum there called the Buffalo Bill Museum, or Center of the West, which is actually 5 museums in one, and they're all connected to the Smithsonian Museum. So it is a world-class museum. They also have all the outdoor activities, rafting, horseback riding, zip lining. They have just so much that you can do there. They have great dinner shows, chuck wagon dinners that we did. Cody's a really cool town and just down to earth.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, you're gonna meet like Wyomingites in their natural environment. Like what you see in Jackson isn't a typical person from Wyoming, but I feel like the people in Cody are. It's like that's pretty typical of a person that lives in Wyoming, and we really enjoyed it. And Matt did mention that people go here on a trip to Yellowstone. We don't think Cody's a great jumping off spot to go to Yellowstone because it's about an hour and a half away. But like going in or out of Yellowstone as a stop, we love Cody. And we actually haven't met anyone that visited Cody and said they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Did you mention the rodeo?
Oh, I did mention the rodeo. It's famous for its Cody Night Rodeo, longest running rodeo or nightly rodeo. And then once a year they have all the professionals come during the 4th of July. And that's like a big thing. People come from all over to go to that rodeo.
All right, I am so excited to talk about our next one, which is Custer, South Dakota. Many people have heard of the wonderful Mount Rushmore, and they think that's all there is to do out in South Dakota, but that is so wrong. We love to travel to Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills, and Custer is our favorite spot to stay. And the reason why we love Custer is because it is a little bit of a smaller town. We think it's a little less expensive. And you're kind of more in the mountains than that. A lot of the other places people stay are more of developed cities. And that's okay if that's what you like to do. But we like Custer because it's close to Custer State Park, which is also a place I think you could argue could be a national park. There's bison, wild turkeys. We love the wild burros that you can feed as you drive around. And then of course, the Black Hills is home to not just one national monument, Mount Rushmore, but it's home to the Wind Caves, the Badlands.
Bell's Tower.
Yes.
Jewel Cave. There are 6 national park sites located in the Black Hills. People just don't realize this. It's really an amazing area. Custer itself is overshadowed by Deadwood. Most people know Deadwood, South Dakota. There was a TV show and all that. about Deadwood, famous Wild West, Old West town. Deadwood's cool too. I actually like Deadwood a lot. But Custer is the more probably affordable option and is closer to the southern Black Hills, which we like a little better because of all that nature and that Custer State Park is really the highlight of the Black Hills, not Mount Rushmore. We like Mount Rushmore, but Custer State Park is great. Also, Crazy Horse carving is near there as well. So 2 mountain carvings. Crazy Horse is much bigger than Mount Rushmore, but it's not finished, it's not even close. But it's still kind of cool to go look at. They've got the face finished and you can hike up to the face and all that. But also the scenic drives. Holy cow. They've got the coolest scenic drives near Custer. They just wind through the mountains. They call them pigtail roads that go through, and you're always just winding around and going through tunnels. And Sylvan Lake, by the way, Sylvan Lake, featured in National Treasure 2, is located in Custer State Park there too. So sorry, we're going on and on about Custer, but
Sorry,
really
I know we're getting very long-winded, but we love these mountain towns. And the other thing I wanted to say about Custer is just that there's some really cool lodging options there. I mean, there's great campgrounds, there's verbos, there's hotels. I mean, there's fun little resorts, like you can be camping, but then there's water slides at the campground. So I mean, the sky's the limit with places you can stay, and I love that there's a variety for any type of traveler there.
Also, doesn't feel as crowded.
No. Oh yes, people that hate crowds would love going to the Black Hills and staying at Custer.
Okay, so number 6 is our hometown of Salt Lake City, Utah. We're putting this on there. Big reason why I put that on there. Salt Lake City is affordable to visit. Northern Utah is actually very affordable to visit. And there's a lot more there than people realize. Salt Lake is up in the mountains, and Calgary and Denver, 2 big cities that are kind of the jumping off points to get into the mountains. They're actually located kind of far away from the mountains. I mean, you know, an hour and a half drive or whatever to get into the Rockies. Salt Lake City is actually perched right on the foothills of the Rockies. It's right there. So when you stay there, what you get is instant access to places like Park City. We thought about putting Park City on the list, but we went with Salt Lake City instead because it kind of encompasses a lot more. But Park City is kind of the famous mountain town and ski town and all that. Great stuff to do in Park City. Salt Lake City hosted the Olympics in 2002, so it's got an Olympic park there that you can visit. Midway, Utah is up in the mountains. It's the little Switzerland of Utah. Very cute little town with a lot of outdoor stuff going on. Rafting the river. Sundance Resort is located nearby, used to be owned by Robert Redford. Great skiing, great mountains, great access to them. So from Salt Lake, you're only a 30-minute drive to Park City, an hour drive up to the Ogden area and Logan and Bear Lake.
I do want to clear up that the Great Salt Lake is not really a big tourist attraction. I know that's what Utah, I guess Mormons in the Great Salt Lake, right? But
That's what you know for Utah.
That's what people know about Utah, it seems like. But the Great Salt Lake is actually not a place people go swimming. It's just, and it actually has kind of been drying up. It's been kind of a crisis in our state. But you can still go out there, and there's this island called Antelope Island, and there's bison out there that people really enjoy going out and checking out. But I wouldn't, if you were coming to Salt Lake City, I wouldn't put swimming in the Great Salt Lake on your to-do list because, no one swims in the Great Salt Lake.
They go out there to float. Because you can't drown in the Great Salt Lake because you float. It's so salty, you just float. It's kind of gross, but people like to go there and float. The salt flats are located out there where they set land speed records. That's kind of something that people like to go check out. A lot of variety and a lot of great scenic drives, a lot of skiing. I mean, the ski resorts are just so close right there. Utah is known to have the greatest snow on earth. It is super powdery and light and fluffy.
If you want to learn about 6 more great mountain towns in Canada, click the icon on your screen. Thanks for watching.